You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a bird, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Y'all want to see a dead body?
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Anybody that's going to check this out on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. I don't know if Twitter's going to act up or not tonight. I'm coming a little bit different tonight. I generally don't even come on this late, but I had to get this out. We've got a scenario right now, lots of things happening in our public school system, and I think the big thing for me is to make sure that the reason of all the hoopla, all the rigmarole, anybody that thinks what's going on probably doesn't know, you'll learn one of the main reasons why I'm where I am with this whole situation. I've actually got a special sponsor tonight that I want to showcase. And as soon as that sponsor's commercial rocks, we'll jump right into it, do a little bit of housekeeping, make sure that we've swollen the room as much as we can get it, and we'll get moving. So I appreciate you for checking out The Villager on Deck. This is the D.E.I. lie, and it's all about Ann Arbor Public Schools and why we are where we are.
When you think exemplary ground transportation needs, think there and back. For all non-emergency transportation needs, think there and back. For date nights, concerts, and sporting events transportation needs, think there and back. For homecoming, prom, and wedding party transportation needs, think There and Back. There and Back is now the most preferred ground transportation company serving Washtenaw County and surrounding communities. Providing safe and reliable service is what every client deserves. Because when preparing for an appointment or any special occasion, the last thing one needs to concern themselves with is how they're going to get there and back.
Appreciate that. Coming from There and Back Transportation, serving all of Washtenaw County and the surrounding areas. Actually, they can do nationwide transportation, but I know that Washtenaw County is their wheelhouse along with the rest of the state of Michigan. So we'll probably drop that a couple more times tonight. Really want to get that transportation company out there just because they are one of the premier transportation companies that we have around here, reliable, professional, and they just get you there and back. So let me get my bed that I want to rock with tonight in here, and then we can kind of get things popping. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. Appreciate you, Free, coming in early. What's going on? We definitely got to talk because lots of stuff. I got stopped by 2 more people in the grocery store just to let you know. People are starting to recognize me a little bit from some of these videos. So we stood there for I don't know how long there, but a couple more people stopped me, and we'll talk more about that. This subject tonight to me is probably more personal than it will be for most, but the main thing for me is I don't like to be lied to, and I don't want anybody to be lied to. And I think that that's what's happened over the last several years dealing with Washtenaw County. And when you talk about Ann Arbor Public Schools, you talk about Ypsilanti Public Schools, and I don't know if the problems are abound with the other schools in the district, but Ann Arbor in particular is obviously nearest and dearest to my heart because that's where I'm from. And what I've seen happen over the last many years is where we've kind of lost our way. I don't know if the numbers were much different than I'm going to be talking about today, but we didn't talk about diversity, equity, inclusion back in the 80s. I didn't really hear about it in the 90s. You really didn't hear about it until most recently because there are so many different people that are in this country. And DEI is huge, okay? DEI is huge. So where I always say, you know, how come we didn't have DEI back in the day? Well, maybe that's why there's a Civil Rights Act bill. There was even a reason to have it. Now you don't need a civil rights bill. You have DEI, you have diversity, equity, and inclusion. And within the Ann Arbor Public School systems, I believe that the DEI is a lie. It's an actual lie. Appreciate you, Brother Robert Jones. So the main thing for me, appreciate you, Tria. The main thing for me is I'm looking at the future. We just had our last kid come out of high school, but tomorrow we start another generation. My grandson starts school in the AAPS system, and as long as I'm in the paint, I definitely have to make sure that he and everybody else involved in it is getting a fair shake. And I want to make sure that people understand this has nothing to do specifically with Janice Swift, the superintendent who has been under pressure to resign. And I don't know where that stands tonight. We won't talk about that tonight because that's not what we're here for. Now, I understand that there's probably a lot of things that she helped implement over the last 10 years and where we're going to be coming from, but this is not about Janice Swift. This is about Ann Arbor Public Schools. This is about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we're going to stay focused on that, stay off of Janice Swift tonight, and stay focused on the data. So as I get this bed ready to loop, so I ain't got to keep starting it again. Let me get my screen share in so we can actually get this right. Oh yeah, and you know, I'm gonna pay homage to a legend, to an icon. You know, we just lost the great Bob Barker, and it's a situation where I said in a post that everybody's grandma back in the day loved Bob Barker. Now, maybe not everybody. Maybe I was taking that for granted, but I know most grandmas loved Bob Barker. Okay. And I saw Price is Right so many times. I became a fan of Bob Barker just because of my grandmothers. All my grandmothers loved Price is Right, you know. And this is how I choose to remember Bob Barker. I know he got gray hair. I know he did all that later in life, but this is the Bob Barker that I remember growing up. So he made it all the way to 99. He made it all the way to 99. Then somebody says, oh, Bob. What do you mean, oh, Bob? He was 99 years old. He lived longer than most of us are going to get. And he lived them years good. Bob was well off, better than well off. So you can't feel bad about somebody living 99 well-off years. I salute him because I never heard him say or be involved in anything greasy. And let me just be frank. He didn't say nothing slick about black folks. So I have to salute that brother. I have to salute that brother because it was real easy. He came up in a time where he could have been real slick. He could have got caught up in some scandals. He could have said all types of things, but he was always on the right side of history with that. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. But where we are tonight, we're going to talk about the DEI lie. And the DEI lie, to me, it starts with leadership. And once again, I'm not going to blame Janice Swift because I believe Ann Arbor Public Schools had this problem for years. Many years before Janice Swift came to Ann Arbor. So there was this recruitment, and staffing annual report put out at the end of 2022. And I'm sure the document has served many people well to learn what was going on. And I'm glad I was able to go through the document and learn really what the stats are, because I have been asking about the stats. You know, I cause a stir in things, so I always want to know what the stats are. If I'm gonna cause a ruckus, I want to know the data. I want to know everything that's in play, simply because there's no point of me out here being ignorant and talking reckless if I don't really know what's going on. So someone sent me this document that was put together, and let me bring the screen on up so I can make sure I can see. Put together by John Randall, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources and Employee Relations. Okay. Now, in putting this together, I assumed that he probably caught some flack back in December. Well, January. He put it back December, like when Christmas break was, right? And then probably in January, people was already probably grunting and groaning about it. But the reason I'm probably talking about it right now is because of the situation that the schools are in, and with the possibility of having change in the leadership. And that's why I said we can't blame, and we won't sit where Janice Swift is tonight. It's not about Janice Swift. It's about the data. It's about what's going on in Ann Arbor Public Schools. And looking at this report, this breakdown, where it has all AAPS staff, central leaders, building leaders, school principals, paraeducators, and support staff, teachers, professional school staff, and students. AAPS staff at the top, students at the bottom. AAPS staff at the top, students at the bottom. AAPS staff at the top, students at the bottom. Me personally, I would have flipped that around. I don't really care how the other things happen in the middle, but I believe the students should be at the top. The students should be the first thing that we think about when we think of Ann Arbor Public Schools. I shouldn't think about the staff. I should think about the students. But the way they've got it put in play, they've got you thinking about the staff first. They've got you thinking about the central leaders, the building leaders, the school principals, the paraeducators, and support staff, teachers, professional school staff. And then who gets thought of last? The students. That's a problem with me. That's always going to be a problem with me. Okay? That's always going to be a problem with me. So when we talk about these issues, in our little incubators, in our group text, in our Zooms, and we talked about them last week at the school board meeting. There's problems abound and nobody is addressing these problems. And just to let y'all know, I'm not ignoring the comments in the chat. I appreciate it. Keep the chat going because I will dip in there at some point. But right now I need to get rolling with the data, but I appreciate it. And anybody that's in here on YouTube, make yourself known. I see the comments on Facebook tonight. That's a good thing. I don't know what I did right tonight to see all the Facebook comments, but that's a good thing. And hopefully there's some people checking in from the Ypsilanti pages because I'm coming for Ypsi too. They've just been delaying the data. I was able to get it much easier in Ann Arbor Public Schools, but you got to understand if the Ann Arbor numbers are where they are, we know the Ypsi numbers aren't far behind. We've already talked about test results and things like that happening over in Ypsi. So we know the results aren't that much further behind. But as we talk about things, it says 2022 and 2023 staffing goals. Address unique and continuing challenges of staffing. Higher number of retirements and exits. You got to address that. When people retire, they got to bring new people in. When people quit, they got to bring new people in. Smaller pool of applicants. So there's less people hiring, less people applying. And that means that you need to go out and find educators. So if you've got less applicants just actually putting their resumes in, that means you should go find people, professional and support personnel, particularly in critical areas. And we're going to talk about those critical areas. Provide the necessary resources to enhance the educational opportunities of our special education students. We already know that the special ed students have been slighted within the public school system. We've heard about the things that have been going on within the Ann Arbor public school system, and we're going to address those situations moving forward. But tonight it's about the data, and it's about maybe this is why we're having the issues in the special education portion of Ann Arbor public schools. Continue commitment to hire a highly skilled and diverse staff. Diverse. Continue commitment to maintain class sizes at all levels. Maintain class sizes at all levels. We're going to get into talking about that too, real soon. Staff retention. Yeah. We losing people just as quick as we hire them in the Ann Arbor public school system. Why? There's got to be a fundamental reason why people come here, then leave here. This is one of the greatest cities to live in, one of the best counties to live in. Why are people leaving this school system not too long after they get here? Or why do you have long tenured employees leaving the school system? Both of those situations need to be addressed. Expanding efforts for recruitment. You have to. It's a must. And then it gets into talking about staff totals by group. Teachers and professional school staff, 1482. Going into 22-23 school year, 1482. Paraeducators and other school support staff, 571. Paraeducators, if you don't know, that's that extra teacher, not a student teacher, but that extra teacher that's inside the classroom, okay? School principals, 34. Keep that number in mind. School principals, 34. Building leaders, 34. I guess that's synonymous with school principals. That includes assistant principals, class principals, deans, assistant deans, and athletic directors. Central leaders includes district leadership, directors and assistant directors, 24. So a total of 2,145 employees. Now, that could be higher or be lower, just depending on where they are to start the school year this term. And then we come to this. Good schools, like good societies and good families, celebrate and cherish diversity. Good schools, like good societies and good families, celebrate and cherish diversity. Deborah Meyer. Now, I wanted to know who Deborah Meyer was, okay? I wanted to know who Deborah Meyer was, so I asked, and they told me who Deborah Meyer was. And once I found out who Deborah Meyer was, I had to go look her up, okay? And since we're there with Deborah Meyer, what I want to do is I want to flip the script. We're going to drop off this data real quick. But Deborah Meyer is this individual. One quick second. This is Deborah Meyer. And Deborah Meyer is an American educator, often considered the founder of the modern small school movement. An American educator, often considered the founder of the modern small school movement. Now, do you know what the small school movement is? The small school movement, also known as the Small Schools Initiative in the United States of America, holds that many high schools are too large and should be reorganized into smaller autonomous schools, no more than 400 students, and optimally under 200. You know how hard that would be to do in Ann Arbor? That would be very difficult to make schools under 400 students. Doesn't mean that it couldn't happen. I mean, I guess you could push people out of the district. You could add more schools, or you could try to implement these small school initiatives with larger populations. I mean, we have graduating classes with 400 students. How are you gonna have a whole high school? But if you take that type of mentality into it, you might try to live by it. And I'm not saying the Ann Arbor Public Schools has tried to live by Deborah Meyer's small school initiative, but where she came from and what she did in previous decades, some of it might hold true as we'll work our way through the data. Okay. So getting back to Deborah Meyer and her quote, good schools, like good societies and good families, celebrate and cherish diversity. That's the second time we've used the word diversity. It won't be the last, trust me. Diversity, core values. In the Ann Arbor Public Schools, we respect diversity, celebrate, and benefit from a rich, diverse. They love this word in AAPS, diverse learning and work environment, and understand that diversity strengthens the organization. Recognize that diversity supports all creative energies and cultivates new talent, not being before recognized. Acknowledge diversity. You see, you understand they're beating us up with the word diversity as a strength, both within the Ann Arbor community and in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. Understand that our students and staff benefit from the many perspectives and rich culture of a diverse, they didn't use diversity this time, they used diverse educational environment. Know that it is beneficial for students to have a diverse and positive role model at school, okay? To have positive role models, but also diverse role models, and across our AAPS organization. Know that it's beneficial. Know that students will learn, grow, and succeed in a diverse K through 12 environment and will be much better prepared to take their next steps in a diverse world. I mean, they use diverse all over that thing. They use diverse everywhere. Hopefully everybody knows what the word is for tonight. The word is diverse. Brother Porter, how you doing tonight? I'm gonna try, brother. I'm gonna try to break it down to the very last compound. This isn't the most exciting, the most humorous, the most entertaining stream that I'll ever do, but it might be the most documented. Because this is the data that we live by in AAPS. This is where it gets good. When we gonna get to the good part. Get on to the good part. Student and teacher race ethnicity data. State and national comparisons. Okay? So we've got the AAPS, we've got the state, and we've got the national. AAPS will be in that was that teal blue. What's that teal? You got Michigan in the gold, and then you got national in the darker blue. Okay? So when you talk about the student comparison in AAPS, it says 49% of the students are Caucasian, white. 13% are Black. Less than 1% are Native American. 13% are Asian. 3% are Hispanic. And 22% are other. Well, what is other? We'll learn really what other is. They didn't put it in here, right here, but we'll learn what other is in just a minute. Because they cook in the books with other, okay? Other is gonna be sprinkled all across these, but they really cook in the book with other, and we'll show you in just a second. Teacher comparison. Same colors. 84% of the teachers in AAPS are Caucasian, white. 8% of the teachers are Black. I know y'all say African American. 1% of the teachers are Native American. 4% of the teachers are Asian. 3% of the teachers are Hispanic. And only 1% of the teachers are other. But you got a 20-something% student count, but you only got 1%, and this is how I'm going to show you they cook in the books on this. Student and staff race ethnicity data, 4-year comparison. So we go from 2019 all the way over to 2023. So let's stay with the far right stats, because does 2019 matter to us anymore? Not really. 2020, 21, no, we don't really want to talk about that because that was the COVID years. What really matters is what's popping right now, and that's going to be the far right number, that lightest blue. So right now, the Ann Arbor student population, 48% white, Caucasian, 13.4% Asian, 13.4% African American Black students. Now, keep in mind, if anybody knows anything, y'all know good and well, it's not the same amount of Asian students in Ann Arbor public schools as it is Black students. But this is how they cook in the books. They cook in the books because they taking that multi-ethnic student, and you've got Black and white, and you've got Black and Hispanic, and you've got Black and Arabic, and you've got Black and Native American, and you've got Black and whomever. But that's where that multi-ethnic comes in at. They take that Black student when they're not all Black. This is why I tell y'all, when y'all start marking that other, when y'all start checking out multiple boxes, this is where we get watered down. You can run through the school system and you know good and well there's not the same amount of Asian students in Ann Arbor public schools as there are Black students. But they're not gonna put biracial, they're gonna say multi-ethnic. And most of these multi-ethnicities have Black students in them, and they look at a Black kid, they look at a biracial Black kid as a Black kid. They don't look at him as a white kid, not statistically. Not when he's not learning right, not when he's getting in trouble. He's a Black student. He's not a multi-ethnic. Oh yes, we gonna touch on that, Sister Lisa. We gonna touch on that. Don't jump the shark. So 2.5% Hispanic students, once again, getting cooked. As many Hispanic people are moving into this territory. And we ain't here to talk about legals or illegals tonight, but we know this number done jumped. Arab Americans, only 1%? What? Okay. Because they cook in these stats. Native American, 0.2%. Other, 0.1%. We gonna get to it. Now we've got the teacher and professional school staff. This is where if I had long sleeves on, I'd roll my sleeves up, because this is where the fight begins. And I'm not saying that the numbers were any different back in the day. As a matter of fact, they probably were higher for white teachers. But when you've got the diverse student population, your teacher and professional staff population should be equally as diverse. And when you look at the teacher and professional school staff, teachers, counselors, school social workers, speech therapists, occupational therapists, school psychologists, school nurses, intervention specialists, and coordinators, it don't look too diverse to me. So according to 2022 and 2023, 83% of the teachers in Ann Arbor Public School are Caucasians, white. 4% are Asian. And if you can see the chat, you'll see Sister Lisa said almost 14%, or she did say 14% are Asian students, but we only got 4% Asian teachers. That number needs to come up. They say we have 13.4% Black student population, but we don't even have 13.4% African American teacher population or professional school staff population. Hispanics, look at that, 3%. They right where they need to be, huh? Not really, because we know that number's higher, and they have people inside the multi-ethnic situation. Native Americans, 1%. And the population got 0.2, so they on a come up. Other, I guess that would include the Arab American, and I don't think that there are, but there may be. I don't know. I don't know why they don't have a listing here. Somebody needs to check that out. Somebody needs to get with John Randall and see why he didn't put Arab American in here. Because if Arab Americans have 1%, shouldn't they have 1% teachers? I mean, let's be diverse. If we're going to be diverse, let's be diverse. If we're going to have diversity, let's have diversity. I'm just saying. And then we have para-educators. This is where I think things could look better for us. Para-educators, office professionals, rec and ed coordinators, technical support personnel. Well, here you only have 63% Caucasian para and other school staff, 5% Asian, 25% African American. Now, I don't know exactly why the number jumped so high there, but maybe we'll figure that out in just a minute. The Hispanics looked like they came up a little bit. The Native Americans, they still right there. And the other, they jumped a little bit too, if you want to consider that a jump. If that's what you want to consider that a jump. We ain't got to the real numbers that matter. Because we're going to slide back up and down this thing a couple times, really finding the truth and finding exactly how little diversity there is in AAPS. School principals. Oh, yeah. Y'all can't see me tonight, but I'm rubbing my hands together. Can you hear them? I might be kind of ashy. You might be able to hear my hands rubbing together. Sorry about that. School principals, 47% white school principals. Now, you know you've got 83% teachers. I got a pretty good memory on numbers, so I'm gonna remember some things and won't have to slide up on everything. But there are 0 Asian school principals. 0. Now, we can slide back up on that. 13.4 students, 4% teachers, but no school principals of Asian descent. That's odd. But when you think about it, it might not be so odd, because maybe that's why there's so many African American principals. I know a lot of people laud this. A lot of people love that there's so many African American principals. We got almost as many African American principals as there are Caucasian ones. Ain't that something? And look at the Hispanics. They got 9%. They got 9% of the principals. But when you look at the population student-wise, they only got 2.5% of the students. Teacher staff only got 3. How they get 9%? How they get 9%? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just asking. Just asking. 0 Native Americans, 0 others. So right now, it makes it look like Black folks and white folks is fighting over leadership in the Ann Arbor public school system. That's a lie. That's where the DEI lie comes in. Yeah, we might have 44% of the principals and Caucasian people have 47% of the principals. Well, let's slide back up here to where the teachers are. When you got 83% of the teachers being Caucasian and only 9% of the teachers being African American, sounds like you setting a whole lot of Black principals up for failure. Because when was the last time that you seen a company being ran by a Black man and he's leading all white folks and ain't got no problems up in here? Oh yeah, there's gonna be some problems up in here. You're gonna have some problems up in here when you got 83% white teachers and 44%. That's almost 1 out of 2. Let's call it what it is. It's almost 1 out of 2 principals in the school system are Black. But you don't have 1 out of 2 teachers in the school system that are Black. You got basically 1 out of 10. Where you got 8 out of 10 school teachers are white. So when you set a Black principal up and all he's doing is looking out at a whole bunch of Caucasian people, maybe to be sprinkled in with a little bit of pepper, we're going to have a problem. There's going to be issues. And that's why there is no real diversity in Ann Arbor public school system, period. The new report comes out in December. I can't wait. Thank you, Sister Lisa. Can't wait for it. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, this is where we have a real issue in the Ann Arbor public school system. A bunch of school leaders with a bunch of people who won't follow the school leaders. Oh yeah, don't think I ain't done my research on that. And that's why I say I'm not here to blame Janice Swift. That's not my goal here tonight. But because a lot of this was set in motion well before she touched down in Ann Arbor. These stats were probably very reminiscent to what they are today. But when you start talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, come on now. Does this look like it's diversity? And when we get here, this is just foolishness. I know it's 2023. I know people change. I know we celebrating the 60-year anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech. But that don't mean beans to me. You've got all these Black principals, but you ain't got no Black educators. So we got a problem with this. We got issues with this. And how can we survive with these numbers? How can our kids thrive with these numbers? How can we sell them on diversity with these numbers? How can we sell them on equity with these numbers? How can we sell them on inclusion with these numbers? But they've been trying. They've been trying hard. And all due respect to John Randall, I don't know the man. Hopefully I'll meet the man. Hopefully I'll be able to sit down and break bread with the man. Hopefully he'll come on the Villager on Deck and really talk about this plan, or maybe the new plan that comes out in December. Because these stats are messed up. They messed up. But let's go to the building leaders, the assistant principals, the class principals, the deans, the assistant deans, the athletic directors. 62%. We know that number is going to hold true, right? So we almost 1 out of 2. We almost 1 out of 2 in the principals, but we dip where it goes to the assistant principals or class principals or deans or assistant deans or athletic directors. And who raises up? Caucasian people. Asians don't raise up. They ain't got no principals and they ain't got no assistant principals, class principals, deans, assistant deans, athletic directors. Why? Hispanics? It says 0%. Looks like it should be registering a number, but it says 0. I'm looking at 0. Native American, 0. Other, 0. Now, I don't know if John got lazy here because I'm looking at 62 and 38. That equals 100. But how come Hispanic look like it's registering some numbers? And they got to have some numbers because I know some people that's Hispanic and they in these roles. How come they not getting counted? How come they're not getting that inclusion factor? Do they not have no equity? Or maybe is it just because we're not diverse? Somebody tell me something. John Randall's first meeting was giving, let's go and put this up on the thing. John Randall's first meeting was giving the last staffing report. They threw him out there. Oh, okay. They fed him to the sharks on the first day? Ah, okay. Now, I don't know if I should feel sorry for him. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to feel sorry for him because that was his fault. He should have said, I ain't ready for this. I ain't ready for this. Let's wait a taste. Let me get to know these folks before y'all just feed me and this report to them. That's a shame they did that to him, but since he didn't know no better, poor John. Yep, done feeling sorry for him right there. Sorry. Central leaders, district leadership team, executive directors, assistant directors. Woo! Look at the number. 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Still no Asians in leadership. And 21% African Americans. Still no Hispanics in leadership. But you got 4% Native Americans. Boy, they made a jump, didn't they? They made a jump in district leadership, executive directors, assistant directors. Native Americans made a jump. Maybe that's why they got so many things that are dedicated to them in the Ann Arbor public school systems. I mean, I know they only do stuff for Black folks in February, but Native Americans got stuff sprinkled all through the school year. And it ain't but a spoonful of them, but they got some leadership in the district. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe the 21% of the district leadership right there, and the 38% of the leadership right there, and the 44% of the leadership right there ain't doing nothing because you've only got 9% of the leadership that's actually teaching the kids. So y'all got to understand, I'm trying to wear this mouse out tonight. 9% teachers, 25% educators and other staff, 44% principals, building leaders, 38%. But when you get down to the central leaders, the district leadership team, 21%. That number just keeps shrinking on the Black side. Can't shrink no more on the Asian side because it's 0, 0, 0, 0. Until you get to the paraeducators, they got 5% there. 4% for the teachers. But they're supposed to be 13% of the population. They got too many zeros up in here. Up in here. Student and staff, race, ethnicity comparison. AAPS staff and student comparison. Look at this. Students for Blacks, for the Blacks, the African Americans, 13%. Look how far that is from the 9% teachers. And I know they like to laud that principals, but look where the teachers is at and look where the principals is at. Paraeducators, building leaders, central leaders. That makes it look real good. When you're looking at this stat and you don't know nothing else, it makes it look real good. We're doing real good. No, we're doing horrible. Because personally, I'd rather have 44% teachers and 9% principals. What do I need 44% of the principals who are handcuffed, who can't move out here because they dealing with 83% of teachers that are white. Makes no sense. Asian population, students 13%, teachers 4%, paraeducators 5%, principals 0, building leaders 0, central leaders 0. Yeah, look at that. Kind of a dip. Hispanic representation, 3% students, 3% teachers, 4% paraeducators, 9% principals. 9%. Only 3% students, but they got 9%. Building leaders, 0. Central leaders, 0. White. Caucasian folk, 49% students. Look at that. Teachers, 83%. Paraeducators, 62%. School principals, 47%. Building leaders, 61%, almost 62%. Central leaders, 75%. They numbers doing good in the hood. Look at that. That's what you call ruling the roost. You notice how they didn't put the other groups in here? You notice that? It just goes from blacks, African Americans, Asian, and Hispanics. Where the Native Americans at? Where the Arab Americans at? Huh? I'm looking for them numbers too, John. Somebody give me John's number. We need to talk. I mean, even if they was all zeros, put them in there, dog. Let us see it. Let us see how diverse AAPS ain't. Teacher and staff recruitment and hiring retention. 2022 staffing processes. So in November, AAPS hosted AAPS teacher and support staff virtual job fair. So they did something online. 67 applicants signed up to attend. Diverse group of applicants were considered. On-the-spot screening interviews were held. 56 applicants were advanced in our selection process. A pool of viable candidates shared with principals to move forward in the hiring process. Several applicants were offered positions. Okay. Hired 2 to 3 guest teachers. Those are substitute teachers. They say guest teachers. You know, they like to sexy up things. Substitute teachers. Hired 2 to 3 guest teachers. Hopefully it wasn't one of them teachers that called the kid nigger over there at Slauson. They probably weren't thrown in this stat, right? Because they were a former teacher and then you made them a present teacher as far as a guest teacher. Hopefully you didn't hire one of them back. Hopefully that's not in this number here. Recruiting pool of guest teachers was 20 for 23 and 24 school year, okay? They held weekly new hiring orientations to introduce, reinforce district values on diversity, equity, and dignity? Huh. Not inclusion, just dignity? Okay. Hired 247 employees since July 1st. 139 of these are teachers. How many of them are black? How many of them are Asian? How many of them are Hispanic? How many of them are Native American? How many of them are other? Or are most of them white? New hire orientations continue to average 10 to 15 participants each week. Manage shift in nature of hiring timelines, new trends. Hiring is ongoing. It just needs to be. Mid-year movement is on the rise. It just should be. Staff retiring and resigning at unusual times of the year. Y'all can't really forecast that, but you got to be ready for it. That's why you got to have people on deck. Continuously improving our electronic work format and flow for hiring recommendations. Develop paperless hiring recommendations. Paperless? How do you do that? How do you have paperless hiring recommendations? Ain't nobody looking at no paper no more. Y'all just looking at computer screens. Piloted a new form capture system, able to capture electronic signatures and approvals. Oh yeah, you can buy a car like that. I don't think we should be buying our teachers like that though. They need to be signing on the dotted line, not the digital line. Exploring other electronic document handling options for HR, exploring new form management systems to go live in 2023, shifting into electronic personnel files. Oh boy, people's files gonna be getting all kind of switched up around here. When you got that hard paper file, you can't switch that file up, but you're gonna be able to switch all people's, man. I can see what's gonna happen in the future here. Don't even get me started on this. Continue HR on the road to remotely provide an ongoing positive HR presence and access for the buildings. Electronic personal files, I can't get off that. You talking about cooking somebody's books, they're gonna be cooking books all over the place. How you gonna have that? How you gonna have an electronic personal file? New teacher, recruitment and retention, ongoing action plan. Continue collaboration with EMU and WISD to support AAPS paraeducators in pursuit of teaching certification, emotional impairment. Currently, 18 AAPS paraeducators are participating. How come y'all ain't dealing with EMU? How come y'all ain't dealing with other schools around the state? Why just EMU? That's only one college. And there's probably a logical and educated reason. I'm just asking. Job postings are sent nationally and posted on job posting boards. I think y'all need to go out and recruit. Develop network of key university and organizational contacts for outreach to minority candidates. Y'all know I don't like that word minority. Never have, never will. Eastern Michigan University, Michigan State University, University of Michigan, Wayne State University, historical Black colleges and sororities and fraternities. We don't know if that's specifically Black folks, because we know white folks and Asian folks and Latino folks and Brahmin Indian folks who become vice presidents go to HBCUs. National Alliance of Black School Educators. Oh, okay, y'all done got the NABSE in on it? Yeah, big deal. Michigan Roundtable of Diversity and Inclusion. Yeah, big deal. Attend annual teachers fairs to recruit and provide AAPS materials to local and historical Black colleges and universities. So that's just a free trip for somebody. Is that John Randall's trip? Does he get to take that trip to go to the annual teachers fairs and stuff? I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's probably a good weekend, you know, free drinks, free food, free flight. I get it. Continue to assist and follow students and teachers and substitute minority candidates to contact when positions become available. Provide student teaching access and the opportunity to interview for available teaching positions upon graduation. Continuously seek new advertising opportunities and best avenues for recruitment. So it sounds like they got a lot of things in play. They want to put all these measures out to recruit. But what's it really going to mean at the end of the day? Because they can put it out there, but who are they really going to be reeling into the Ann Arbor Public School system? Collaborate with AAEA Minority Affairs Committee, to support and retain minority candidates. Collaborate with district-wide equity team. Expand our Grow Your Own program. I don't like that Grow Your Own program. That sounds like cannabis. You mean grow your own program? Does that mean like you're not going to let people leave this area? You're not going to let people leave this area? Is that what it is? So basically we should be talking up teachers or the teaching profession in AAPS. And we should be supporting kids going off to school with the boomerang effect of them coming back and working for Ann Arbor Public Schools. What are y'all putting in play to grow your own? Because right now, I don't think y'all really growing your own. Because if you are growing your own, you're growing Reggie's. And you probably don't know what that is unless you smoke cannabis. Programs for outreach and AAPS paraeducators and other support staff interested in pursuing teaching certification. Grow your own. Uh-oh, here come the challenges. Here come the challenges. I think we've already seen the challenges, but let's keep going, shall we? Educator workforce trends, national educator shortage. So there's a shortage of people that want to be teachers. Is that what they're saying? Michigan teachers preparation in universities reporting decreased enrollments. So that means y'all got to go find teachers. Y'all got to leave the state. If we've got a shortage of people wanting to be teachers in the state, that means maybe we can't afford to grow our own. We can't wait to grow our own, but we can go out and find product outside of this area. Because people are dying to get to Michigan. Maybe the people that are in Michigan just not dying to be teachers. Critical shortage lists are growing. Michigan teacher preparation enrollment. Yeah, it looks like there's a considerable dip that happened, right? Hopefully it's still back on the rise. But a considerable dip. Enrollees dipped all the way down, but look where it's at with the completers. It's just on a downward slide. Challenges, educator workforce trends. Teachers holding valid certifications are not working in the field of education. That's a problem too. I know plenty of people with teaching certificates and they do other things out here. They've left the teaching profession for a multitude of reasons. Are people going out looking for those people with teaching certificates and asking them why they left the teaching profession? And maybe they can make it better to come back and work for Ann Arbor public school systems? First and foremost, I don't think teachers get paid enough. That's probably one of the main reasons that people leave. Don't blame it on the kids. Don't blame it on the curriculum. Blame it on the money or lack thereof. State of Michigan efforts to help districts. Talent Together. Superintendents from across Michigan are launching a program to address teaching shortages. Future Proud Michigan Educator efforts. Appropriate placement flexibility. Grow your own grants. There you go. Give up the money so they can come get the money and give them more money. Temporary certification options. I don't really like that, because if you give somebody a job and they only got a temporary certificate, once they get in and they real good, you probably gonna stop worrying about whether they go get fully certified. No, make sure they got their paperwork right when they come in here. I feel about them just like I feel about anybody coming into this country. Get your paperwork right and then come talk to me. Welcome back, proud Michigan educators. Welcome home, proud Michigan educators. Okay, I get it. AAPS, grow your own para-educator to teacher. Hey, I know that guy. Partnership with EMU and WISD, third year partnership. Current year, we have 9 slots and a waiting list of interested staff. Good. First year cohort, we have 7 participants still actively enrolled. Good. Spotlight, Justin Harper. Yep, that's his name. One of the first cohort grow your own candidates. Okay, he's from this area, so I can see where they're working with this. Work with EMU WISD partnership. Currently a TA at Dickin Elementary, taking final exams and classes in 22-23 to become a special education teacher. Nice, I like that. And then he must have had a PowerPoint or something going there. All right. The guest teacher report. The guest teacher report. Got to be careful who we allow to be guest teachers. Remember what happened at Slauson? She called that little boy nigger, and all they did was just said, she'll never work for us again. She should have never worked for you in the first place. To date, 503 guest teachers are actively working in AAPS. Our ITD continues to provide Schoolology training on a weekly basis with 8 to 10 new guest teachers participating each week. Partnering with EduStaff, we continuously recruit and market for additional guest teachers. Recruiting retired teachers. Yeah, that's what we got in trouble there, right? We let somebody leave and then come back, and then she start calling our kids niggers. How many times does this happen? And I'm not saying specifically about a kid getting called nigger, but how many times have we let retired teachers come back and there's been things that happen with that retired teacher that you rehired? That's why we need to build up for the new staff. I mean, it's okay to bring somebody off the bench. But when they retired, when they left the bench, when they left the locker room, when they went home and they sitting in a rocking chair, everybody ain't meant to bring back. You need to do a whole revamp on them. You know, have them go through a psych eval, make sure they still qualified, certified, bona fide to be a teacher. Even if they're just gonna be a guest. You just don't let any guest in your house, especially one that's gonna end up calling one of your kids niggers. You don't want that. Today, AAPS has 44 retired teachers working as guest teachers. Hopefully this number was counted before the nigger teacher, and now it's only 43. Because she was probably in this play because this was before she called that boy nigger. So maybe it's only 43 now. I'm never gonna let it go because nobody else picked it up. I was the only person out here talking about it. Everybody else calls themselves something out here for the community, for the village, for the town, for the county, but ain't nobody talking about it. They let it go. They just let it go. I can't let it go. I wish the NAACP would have said something about that. No, they was more concerned about taking selfies with Superintendent Swift. Identifying paraeducators qualified to guest teach as stipulated in the AAPS AAEAP MOU SE. To date, 56 trained pairs are actively guest teaching, offering teachers an opportunity for additional hourly work during their planning periods. Assign 2 to 3 dedicated building guest teachers in each location. Exploring district level guest teachers that can be assigned on a daily basis. Offering premium rates for Monday or Friday. Yeah, because that's most time you get people calling in, Monday or Friday. Next steps, building pipelines. Building pipelines. We are committed to continuing our efforts to hire, support, and engage minority staff. Here we go with that minority thing again. I just want to know exactly who they're talking about when they say minority. You talking about more black people? You talking about more Asian people? You talking about more Hispanic people? You talking about more Native American people? Because y'all do know that white males classify as minorities now, right? Y'all do know that, right? And white females benefit from affirmative action more than anybody ever has or anybody ever will. So when they say minority and affirmative action, I just say, yeah, okay. Set expectations to ensure current AAPS staff are able to work in a diverse environment. Enhance programs to retain minority staff once hired. Pay them more money. Let them do their thing out here. Just make sure you got good people in the paint. Unlike that principal over there at Carpenter. He worked his way all the way up to principal only to just brutalize people over there. Oh, I done heard about him, and I'm looking to hear a whole lot more. Y'all need to keep coming with your stories about Carpenter Elementary because there's a lot out there. We'll be talking about that soon once we get all that data, situated the right way, and I can talk about what I can talk about and don't compromise anybody in these situations with lawsuits or, issues dealing with the district. Make certain that all staff are aware of the equity team plan that is designed to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion and accountability. What about dignity? That dignity only showed up that one time. Continue to provide annual diversity and sensitivity training to all staff. Diversity and sensitivity. So do you have to be sensitive while being diverse, or do they want you just to be diverse and sensitive? I don't really understand all that, man. It really doesn't mean anything to me. Recruit for strong, diverse, here we go again, candidate pools and hire the very best candidates. AAPS virtual job fairs will continue. I bet they will. That's the easiest thing y'all can do. Just get online and interview folks with y'all electronic personnel files. This is about to be a dumpster fire for real. Electronic personnel files. Wow. Interview teams require diverse representation of staff. Professional development incorporates equity throughout. Continue to work with and include AAEA Minority Affairs Committee in our recruitment and hiring efforts. That concludes, thank God, the recruitment and staffing annual report. But before we get out of here with that, let's go on back up here. Let's not forget why we came here tonight. The main reason we came here tonight, I had to talk about all that. Y'all know this. I had to talk about all that. But the main reason we came here tonight was this. A lot of people love this. Almost half the schools have black principals. So what? Almost all the schools have all white teachers. I bet you they've strategically set a black teacher in every school at this point. I would think they're at least smart enough to do that. But there could be some schools out there maybe with just like one black teacher. No black principal and one black teacher, maybe two. And what kind of play do they have up in there? Because this is really what rules the roost. You could have almost 1 out of 2 principals be black in Ann Arbor public schools. Those hand-picked individuals ain't worth squat. When you dealing with 83% white, go ahead and tack on that 4% Asian, that's 87. Go ahead and tack on that 3% Hispanic, that's 90. Go ahead and talk on that 1% of Native American and that 1% of other. Now you got 92%. So John's numbers were off, and I don't know who called him on it because I'm calling him on it. You can't have 83 plus 4 is 87, plus 3 is 90, and then you have plus 1 is 91, plus 2 is 92, and then still have 9% teachers. That's 101%. Since when can we have 101% of anything? Huh? Since when can we have 101% of anything? This is why I'm trying to tell y'all, the books have been cooked. And right there, he overcooked them. He went over 100%. How we go over 100% and nobody checked him? Did anybody check him? Has anybody said anything? I mean, right there, you got 91. And you got 9% Hispanic. Yeah, he did that one right. I guess it was real easy to add zeros. Real easy to add zeros. But this number right here is wrong. Not this one. This one. 101%. 101%. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Don't play with me. Play with your calculator, John. Putting these numbers out here like this is a problem, y'all. It shows us that Ann Arbor Public Schools is not as diverse, is not as equitable, and it don't include the people that it's supposed to include at all levels. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be majority ran by white folks, but I kind of am. And that's why I said this wasn't about Janice Swift. It wasn't about her. She's been a part of it for the last 10 years, but I can guarantee you those numbers were very, 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 very similar when I was a kid. And I'm old now. I'm old. I done went through it. My kids done gone through it. Now my grandkids about to go through it. So I don't need the Ann Arbor Public School system to be lying to my grandkids. You lied to me. Hell, you lied to my mama. You lied to my daddy. And then you lied to me. And then you lied to my kids. I ain't gonna let you lie to my grandkids. Uh-oh. It says Swift has final say on all hires. So with that being said, where I said we were not going to sit here and blame Janice Swift, she has final say. So she sees what's coming through the door. She sees what's coming through the door. And her and John Randall can sit down all day and count the numbers up. Maybe that's why we got to 101%. See, it's crazy when you got people in here smarter than me. I don't care that I'm not the smartest person in the room when I got people in here with the intel and the details. Because sometimes I have the intel, but I don't have the details, but it looks like somebody else got the details. So it is what it is. But I appreciate y'all who've checked in, chimed in the chat room tonight. Sorry I was absentee on the comments, but everybody that's come through, said things in the chat tonight, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It says 0 AAPI principals, 0 AAPI assistant principals, 0 AAPI building leaders, 0 AAPI at Dallas. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, Brother Porter, they're cooking them. They're cooking the books over easy. Appreciate you, Free. So they'll slide the teacher somewhere. Yeah. Like chess pieces. Chess pieces. What was that about Ann Arbor Open? I didn't catch that because I wasn't looking at the chat at that time. What about Ann Arbor Open? I heard Ann Arbor Open is like really one of the least diverse places. Is that true? Is Ann Arbor Open the school that everybody be talking about? Ain't no black folks at Ann Arbor Open? I want to know before I get out. I think Ann Arbor Open is the school where they be like, don't know black people work in Ann Arbor Open. I believe so. I'm not sure for sure. But I want to know. I want to know what school that is where they're like, don't know black people. They ain't even got a black custodian. At one of them schools, they ain't even a black custodian. You know, when they start outsourcing the custodial help, they start outsourcing the bus drivers, and they start outsourcing everybody, the schools got lighter. We see what's happening with the teachers. We see what's happening with the other educators. But now, man, they say they got a school. I mean, none work there. That's nuts to me. 78% white at A2 Open, least diverse AAPS school, 78% white. That's crazy. Almost 8 out of 10. And Ann Arbor Open is Ball, right? That's the old Ball school, I believe. I think that's the Ball school. Ball, you know. But yeah, man. This was enlightening. It was enlightening for me to go over. I skimmed over a lot of the stuff that was not statistical information. That's why I was slow to read. Some of it messed up on a little bit of it. Hopefully you'll excuse that. But the AAPS DEI lie has to turn around. And it's not going to magically turn around if Janice Swift ends up leaving the district. And let's just say she doesn't leave the district. It's not going to magically happen because I'm sitting up here with about 12 people watching this video. What's going to make it happen is the people. We need all hands on deck. The Villager on Deck is going to be here until I'm not here. But we need all hands on deck. We need all AAPI standing up. We need all Hispanics standing up. We need all Arab Americans standing up. If you want representation, bring that ass. to the board meetings, to the PTO meetings, PTSO, whatever meeting. It don't matter. Bring them. Because that's what makes it move. We got a lot of people that have left the district over the last several years, and not specifically because of Swift, because of what those statistics are. And their kids aren't getting the education that they feel they deserve. That's a problem. No one family or no multitude of families leaves a school district just because of the superintendent. Don't believe the hype. They leave because of the system. So where I've done everything that I needed to do tonight, we're going to get on up out of here. We're going to get on up out of here. And I'm going to close it out with some diversity, equity, inclusion business of my own, because you know I'm petty. Oh yeah, I'm petty. Last week, everybody was making fun of the former president of the United States and his mug shot. But here, I couldn't care less about his mug shot. I'm thinking about this brother right here. Oh yeah, he done talk greasy against black folks. He done talk greasy against black folks. But now he still sits in the Fulton County Jail because he did not negotiate his bond agreement and doesn't have enough money for bond, doesn't have enough money for an attorney. So he's sitting. He got jailhouse blues on. Unless they got him out over the last few hours, he was in there early this morning. He was in there this afternoon. And ain't answering his phone calls is Donald Trump. I'm sure he done called to Donald. Like, look, dog, you got to get me up out of here. I can't be up in here. Harrison Floyd. This dude right here is on it bad. And let me just tell you, jail do something to you real quick. This is what he looked like before jail. This is his glamour shot before jail. But yeah, they done got him in the Fulton County Jail now. He don't look the same. Trying to put on a little menacing look. You better carry that look around with you all day, all night, Harrison. And I know he's a veteran. I know he was in the military. I know he was in the wars and all that stuff. But that don't matter when you go behind them bars. They don't care what you did out there in the desert. They don't care what you did. But I care what he's been doing out here talking greasy. This Black for Trump thing, yeah. See how that's worked out for you? Remember the guy that was at the insurrection? They found one person to arrest right on the spot, and it was the black guy, the only black guy in the thing. He wasn't even doing nothing. He was checking his watch. They came and got him. He's checking his watch. They went and got him. The Blacks for Trump thing really doesn't work, y'all. And I'm not saying vote Democrat by any stretch, because I'm not voting Democrat. But everybody that votes for Trump that's black and they be down with that Blacks for Trump and black this and black that, look at what they get. This boy is still in jail. Nobody told him how to handle that business. Everybody else went home except him. That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy to me. But what's even crazier is the AAPS, the D.E.I lie. So y'all be good. Until the next time, I appreciate y'all being here. And hopefully you understood the message, and hopefully I spoke it the way I needed to speak it. Thank you, Lisa, for the stats you conveyed. Also, thanks for anybody else that was in the chat. I didn't mean to ignore anybody's comments. I said that earlier. I didn't want to ignore anybody's stats, okay? Because my thing wasn't to ignore anybody tonight. My thing was to make sure that I got the whole message across. I needed to get that whole message across, and not only get that message across thoroughly, but I needed to make sure that everybody understands what we are embarking on right now. I mean, because right now it's a bad situation that's happening in Ann Arbor Public Schools. It's a bad situation. And I need everybody to understand that if we don't get all hands on deck. We're going to be in for another 10 years. With or without Swift, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. The people turn this thing around. The people. Please understand that. Please understand that it's always about the people. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Tria. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Free, as always. I'm just doing what I need to do out here to stay relevant. Some people want to do other things to stay relevant. I have to do this to stay relevant. I'm about these kids out here. I ain't about nothing else. I'm about these kids. And until somebody else says different, I'm gonna be about these kids. That's who I am. That's why I'm the villager on deck. And that's one thing that can't nobody take away from me. Y'all be good out here. One love.
There and Back is now the most preferred ground transportation company serving Washtenaw County and surrounding communities. Providing safe and reliable service is what every client deserves. Because when preparing for an appointment or any special occasion, the last thing one needs to concern themselves with is how they're going to get there and back.